5.03 of workers' compensation and Form 10.5 workers' compensation reimbursement agreement of the Warren County Personnel Policy Manual. And so I don't have any particular questions, but Sue, is there something that we should?
It's just clarifying language to make it easier for the employee to understand and supervisors to understand, so they come back to us and give us the correct information so we can move forward.
Okay.
The policy was pretty old, so we felt like it was time to redo it and
Yeah.
make it more clear.
I was just gonna say, since I'm not a lawyer or a human resources professional, it seemed like it was clarifying to me, but I just, would check.
Great, thank you.
Tom, do you have any problem with that?
Nope. No,
Okay.
I don't.
Do we have to take a vote on this, we have a resolution?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
And yes. And a motion to authorize the county administrator to sign all documents associated with the grant agreement by and between ODOT Office of Aviation and the Warren County Board of Commissioners relative to the fiscal year 2024 Ohio Airport Grant Program. And this was explained in the packet,
Yeah,
part of the apron.
It's just a taxiway apron phase one, and if I'm not mistaken, there's actually the feds and the state will pick up the tab. I don't think there's actually a local match on this one, so it's just to approve that agreement or authorize me to sign the agreement.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we authorize that.
Yes. Next, authorize the president of the board to sign a property damage release from the Fastenal Company relative to guardrail damages. Do you have any questions? about
No, I
that?
don't. I'll make a motion that we authorize you to do that.
Yeah, yes. I saw a stack of papers back there for signature. Okay, next, authorizing the engineer to prepare and submit an application to participate in the OPWC State Capital Improvement Program for the Columbia Road Improvements Project.
I mean,
That,
it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So it's just,
I make a motion to authorize the engineer to do that.
And yes. Authorize the acceptance of grant funding for the Second Chance Workforce Development Program on behalf of Ohio Means Jobs. Martin, do you have anything to add to that?
there's really not much. I know that Josh Heisel, who's the director of the Ohio Means Jobs, has done a significant amount of work with folks relative to Second Chance, and it's obviously as a lot of companies and communities struggle to fill jobs, Second Chance opportunities. There are companies that do that, so I think Josh is just working to sit there and expand the program and the funding.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
Yep, I make a motion that we authorize the acceptance of the grant fund.
And yes. Then there's a resolution to enter into a contract with Ray Hensley Inc. for the 2026 chip seal project.
This is standard. It's just brought before you because it's obviously a larger
It's
funding
that time
amount.
of year.
Yep. You'll see, I mean, you've said in the last couple of meetings, is that you'll see several construction. The next one you have is getting prepared for salt, you have chip seal, you have asphalt programs throughout the county, so this is just one of those standard ones.
All right, I make a motion we enter with Ray
And-
Hensley.
And yes, and then we have one for the Morton Salt for the purchase of 29,150 tons of salt for bulk ice control.
I make a motion that we award the bid to Morton Salt.
And yes, and then we also have a resolution to award the bid to Encore Precast for the purchase of the new Burlington Road Bridge Precast Reinforced Concrete Box Culvert.
I'll make a motion for that too.
And yes. And then this is a big one, enter into the contract with John R. Jurgensen for the 2026 resurfacing project.
That's, we've already approved that requisition. Do we have to do
I
that
think-
again?
I mean, you can approve it, but just for everybody to know, this is not just the county roads. This is where the county engineer partners up with a lot of the townships and folks inside of the county so we can get bulk pricing. And one thing that Engineer Weber did say to me is that the price of the asphalt was actually lower this year than was anticipated, so there may be later in the year a change order. to maybe ask for more based off savings to get a little bit more done, depending on how things work out, so.
What the price of asphalt is with.
Well, I put it this way, at the time, it was actually cheaper. Now, whether it stays that way is a different
Yeah, we probably
story.
should get it under contract.
Yeah, but there would be potentially, put it this way, could be a change order depending on how things go.
Yeah,
All
okay.
right, I'd make a motion, we enter into a contract with John Jurgensen.
And yes. Okay, a couple more. Authorizing the president of the board to sign documents relative to the statewide consortium of Ohio County Law Library Resource Boards grant.
I'll make a motion, we authorize you to do that.
And yes. Approve change order number 1 to the contract with Milcon Concrete for the Sand Harbor Water Main Replacement Project. That seems straightforward.
Yeah, this was the one where there was water main issues and replacements, but then there was a piece of a private drive that needed to be, this is actually a change order, that contract that is going to be paid for by the homeowners association.
Okay.
All right, make a motion for that.
And yes. The authorizing agreement number 3 to the master service agreement with Choice One Engineering for the 5th and 6th Streets utility replacement project.
As Susan put in the summary yesterday, this is a 320 feet of 4-inch public main that needs to be replaced up in the Waynesville area. You, about a year or so ago, if not longer, did a master agreement to kind of from a speed to market perspective for the water and sewer division, and so they are adding this amendment to authorize them to go out and make that replacement.
All right, I'll make a motion for that too.
And yes. Next, we have a resolution to approve and authorize the president or vice president of the board to execute settlement agreement and mutual release relative to the Franklin area water treatment plant softening improvements project.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion for that, but why does the vice president have to sign that? Or can he?
I think it's probably just the way the resolution that gives you both the ability to do it in case the president wasn't here that
He's
particular day. that we passed it.
incapacitated, you can step in.
I wrote it, and I wrote it exactly for that purpose.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who's gonna be here the
Yeah.
week it needs to be, so generally, one of you will have to be here, so that's the way it's written.
So
If I'm incapacitated and
okay,
unable
and of
to
course,
fulfill
one
my
of-
duties.
one of you two have
Or
got to be
traveling
here.
abroad.
One of you guys gotta be here. Okay, I'll make a motion to
Traveling
do that
abroad.
too.
Great. Yes. I like to share my very
Yeah.
powerful.
Well, you didn't share
responsibilities.
before, okay? There's other things that weren't very important, so you didn't share on those. That's why I asked the
Because
question.
they're sitting on my desk.
Oh, you were gonna do that today.
After you gave me the authority to do
Okay.
it. Approve the appointment and reappointment of representatives to serve on the Area 12 Workforce Development Board. And Martin.
Yeah, it's just they do this periodically as folks either move on, retire, resign from the board. Actually, I think there's 2 appointments. One, I think, is a state provider, which just automatically needs to be re-upped. But the one here for Warren County, which is a good thing, is down in Mason, the company Vega. The workforce board has been interacting with them, and I think somebody in their C-suite is actually gonna join the workforce investment board, so it's nice to have
That's
large manufacturing companies get involved, so, there's 2, one that's a state appointment and the other one that is from Vega.
Yeah, that was, I was really thrilled to see that, having spent a little bit of time at Vega out in Germany to learn about their apprenticeship program. It's a pretty amazing place, so.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the appointment and reappointment of representatives to serve on that board.
And yes. Okay, Allison, I'd like to say it's great to see you all. But I know, our friends from Hub are gonna be here to discuss the addition of a gene therapy rider to the Warren County Healthcare Plan. Good morning.
Good morning. I know you're used to seeing me in the fall. I'm here in the spring,
Yeah.
so happy spring. Hopefully make this short for you all. As you mentioned, Allison Ruhlman, benefit consultant at Hub. Here to talk through a recommendation on the benefits plan, obviously not impacting member experience by any means, but just an additional reinsurance rider something to think about. This is specifically tied to gene therapy. So just a background, gene therapy, these are life-saving treatments that are out there in the marketplace now. Many are being FDA approved. I believe we're at a little over 40 through 2025 into 2026. Basically what these do, they modify a person's genetic material to help cure diseases. Think of a lot of, just genetic disorders, some autoimmune disorders. So these are continually getting FDA approved in the world. So what we want to do is talk through how we are going to afford these, because these are, once they are FDA approved, they are covered on your health plan. So the reason we're bringing this up is these gene therapies are pretty costly. They don't hit a lot, but when they do, they strike hot. These can cost anywhere from 1.6 over $4 million. So they're one-time hits. After somebody has one of these therapies, typically they are cured. And so they are great success stories, obviously heartwarming stories for these families. However, like I said, they're very, very expensive. So them being covered on your plan today obviously adds additional costs to your self-insured plan. You have stop loss in place today, which certainly helps cover these as well, and you get reimbursed that. However, if you were to be hit with a gene therapy, your stop loss renewal, when I come, in October and talk through it, probably wouldn't look too favorable with that loss ratio. So because of that, we wanted to talk through a reinsurance rider to help offset these costs if you were to be hit with a gene therapy. So our recommendation would be to implement a carve-out reinsurance program. This is something that Hub and many other vendors are vetting today. We were able to have a partnership with Strategic Benefit Resources, which is a subsidiary of Hub. Why we like this, and we'll go through some of these, but basically it's an vendor-agnostic program that would reimburse you and your stop-loss carrier the cost of the gene therapy. So for example, if you were to be hit with a Zolgensma, for example, Zolgensma cures spinal muscular atrophy. It also comes at a price of $2.1 million. If that were to hit your plan, you would pay obviously up to your specific deductible on your stop loss, hit into that aggregating specific deductible, your stop loss carrier 180 would pay the rest. If you had this in place, once you all pay that, you are reimbursed the amount that you paid on your specific deductible, aggregating specific deductible, and then 180 is also reimbursed. So it kind of just clears it from an underwriting perspective, so nobody is on the hook for paying it except for the reinsurance rider. Why you would do this is then it is not within your experience on your stop loss, so when we do have your stop loss renewal, it would not hit that stop loss ratio.
What's the total cost for doing that?
So it is $4.30.
No, I mean, what's the total cost? There's gonna be, how many employees? We got 330, what is
It would be $43,000.
Okay, that's
Yep.
what I wanted.
Yep.
So why should we, I see, that's the last cell. Why should we be worried about something that only affects 200,000 people
So
in the United States, right?
Yes. So we call this lightning in a bottle right now because it doesn't strike often, but when it does strike, it strikes pretty hot. We are going to see an increased amount being FDA approved by 2030. I think that the amount of gene therapies that are approved is going to double. So just giving you perspective on my book of business, I've already seen 2 stop-loss therapies hits.
What do you mean you've seen 2? You've seen 2?
For my book of business and my clients. So just in general for Hub.
How big is your book of business?
I work with about 18 clients. So
Oh, that's pretty significant.
yes.
But you happen to hit 2 of the 200,000 people.
Or she's unlucky.
I am unlucky.
Or lucky. I mean,
Right.
listen, let's not forget from the patient standpoint,
Correct. Correct.
this is life-changing
This is
for them
life-changing.
and their families. So.
Yes. I will tell you, we haven't seen unless Steve, you have heard of any other, we have not seen any other gene therapies within our book of business. To your point, I think I am the unlucky one, but that's why I'm really emphasizing this among my book of business as we continue to see the prevalence and those FDA approvals hit.
If I could just share, I had a client who was right up the street.
Just come up, so those who are watching us live can.
I say another client that I work with right up the street from here, they had somebody that fit the profile for one of these gene therapy drugs. So what the stop loss carrier did at that renewal is they gave us a $3.5 million laser on that person. So they basically said, hey, we'll cover everybody at $300,000, but for this person who we think will qualify for a $3.5 million drug, we're not going to cover them until you spend, client, $3.5 million.
So how do they do this? Do they do it after the person has some issue, or is it, oh, we found out they got this particular problem that could lead to the issue, and therefore we give them this treatment to prevent it from ever happening, even though it might, even if you have it, it might be unlikely that you get it. Is that how that works?
So due to the cost of these gene therapies, there is an extensive prior authorization process to be approved for a therapy. So if somebody has, for example, spinal muscular atrophy, they would go through some other extensive therapies, etc. And if those obviously do not work, they would potentially be approved for the gene therapy. So it's not like they just, get a script from their doctor.
But my question was kind of different. So as an example, I have an arthritic condition which is related to a genetic issue, but only 20% of the people with that particular genetic issue will get this problem. So would you fix the problem? I don't know if my problem could be fixed by gene therapy, but would you fix it before they have the onset of the problem, even though it might be, that's my question. Do they do that?
So I think everyone's going to be a little bit different about how you qualify for the gene therapy drug. So the one that I was talking about, the reason they lasered this individual is because for this specific gene therapy, you had to be 18 years or older, and you had to be a male, and you had to have this certain disease. And this person had this certain disease. They were turning 18 the following year, and it was a male. So they figured, okay, we know this person has this illness because we can see it in the claims. They turn 18 next year, they would now qualify for this. So if they're able to, and the doctor knows about it, they very well could write the person on this new gene therapy script. So they saw that in the claims, and they said, yeah, we're not going to cover that.
There's a person whose genetic condition was causing the problem actively. What I'm asking is, can you get the therapy to change your genetic structure, do something to interfere with the problem that could occur, even if it has not yet happened, but they see the genetic problem? In other words, you see what I'm saying? Or they wouldn't know, or they wouldn't even do the test to determine whether you have the genetic issue unless you were symptomatic.
Not 100%, because I think every gene therapy drug is a little bit different in the qualifications and how you get it. There's all these, not hoops, but qualifications. Like you have to be this, fully diagnosed, not like
Well, is this going to lead
diagnosed.
us to have our people all go through genetic testing to determine what they've got out there?
No.
No, wouldn't.
No, so for example, there's about 40-ish FDA approved today. We mentioned the spinal muscular atrophy. There's one for hemophilia. There's one for childhood blindness. So these are probably diagnoses that they are probably already experiencing symptoms, a lot that they are born with. So I don't think it would be something that everybody is genetically tested to see if they qualify for it. They don't happen very frequently. It's not very prevalent, but like I said, when they do, it could be somebody born with something that this would
All right,
qualify
well, I
for.
think this is an easy issue. It's an easy yes for me.
Anything else you think we should be aware of?
The only other thing I would say, obviously some of the benefits we've discussed, but just some considerations I'd point out. Pre-existing conditions is a big one, so that is why we're recommending now in spring rather than waiting until October. If somebody is on your plan today and they have a specific diagnosis that would qualify for gene therapy, they would not be covered by this reinsurance rider due to pre-existing conditions. So this would truly be for anybody enrolled in your plan going forward after it's taken effect. So the sooner, obviously, the better.
So does then our regular health insurance, our standard insurance, take into consideration the fact that, if a child is diagnosed with hemophilia and gets gene therapy and they no longer have hemophilia, do they take into consideration that for the time that child is a member, that their costs are substantially lower.
Yes, so that's a
Sure.
great question.
I don't believe you, but,
So as far as the underwriting experience, certainly if somebody has something like hemophilia, they probably are having other treatments, medications, etc. prior to this gene therapy. So some of that, I will caveat, is probably still instilled in the underwriting experience. However, the actual gene therapy of that 2.1, 2.5 million, whatever it costs, that is stated that it is netted out of that experience and shouldn't go against your stop-loss ratio.
child has sickle cell, really painful, really
Correct.
horrible,
Correct.
and really expensive on a plan for life.
Yes.
And this gene therapy has the ability to change that dramatically.
Correct.
Not to mention extend and improve the quality of life for that child.
100%. The other solution is obviously to exclude gene therapy. And to your point of, you offer best-in-class benefits, and making sure that something like this is covered surely impacts their life.
Okay.
Okay, so do we need to take an action today or?
Well, she's saying that we want to get on faster.
Yes.
Yes, so next steps is just to sign the proposal form. So we can
Okay.
get that over to you for signature, and we should be good to go.
Okay.
Would we need
That's
a
what I was
motion on it?
officially trying to ask. Is there something we need to approve today, or just we'll approve it when the contract comes? Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
so much. Okay, next we'll hear from Adam Nice, the nice prosecutor that we deal with. He's so perfectly named, unlike some not to be named other prosecutors.
Just for the record, I have no idea who you're talking about. That comment makes
Because
no,
there's no nameplate.
comment makes no sense to me. Adam Nice, the prosecutor's office. I'm here for something pretty simple. It's just the question is, do you want to do it? So, our office does hundreds and hundreds of contracts a year. We approve every contract that you sign, and you are the contracting authority for every elected official in every county office. So it's anything from coffee to engineers to professional consultants to paper. We review and approve all those contracts. Often the vendors and contractors we work with and state grants, federal grants, they want to use electronic signatures. This county has long had a policy that we only want to do wet ink signatures. We're getting to the point where we're starting to lose the opportunity to engage in some contracts because vendors are saying, I can't do that. Our COO is overseas, or we do DocuSign.
Is the problem that we're requiring them to do it?
That's correct.
Okay, so they don't care whether we do it.
That's correct.
With our signature. This is an authorization so that a person we're contracting with can do it electronically.
It is both.
Well, okay, we'll do both, but we don't.
Their objection is not us having a wet
Yeah,
signature.
exactly.
Right.
So this is just easy. There's no reason, this is accepted across the board, all over the place.
That's correct, and it has been for decades. There is a
Yes.
law that says anywhere a signature is required, an electronic signature is valid under the law. There's a new law that says you have to have some security measures. So in the policy, I worked with Gary and Ben and Crystal on this. We have some security measures. One would be that we may use signature that is a digital signature, like a DocuSign, Adobe Acrobat Sign, Dropbox Sign, or other similarly secure platforms. And those platforms are known to have some kind of passcode or email access, encrypted documents, tamper detection, they're auditable. So when we're doing digital signatures, we require that it have at least those features. Or if we're just doing a PDF, say I'm buying a new copy machine or something, then the contract term needs to indicate that the person signing is authorized to sign, it needs to affirm their identity, and it needs to be an actual unique signature, just like you would on a paper wedding signature. So there's some measure of security that we know. So in other words, compare that to, Mr. Grossman, when you do like an electronic filing in court, you're just typing S/Tom Grossman. This policy doesn't, we need either a digital signature that has all the security features, or we need a contract with a photo or facsimile or scan of an actual signature that verifies the person signing is who they say they are and they have the authority. So those are the security measures we've kind of built in. it's something. It's not perfect, but it's something. So the request is for you to adopt this electronic signature policy. One caveat to your comment, Commissioner Grossman, is sometimes when we do, I'm thinking like the opioid settlement case and those kind of agreements we do, or some federal grants or state grants, or some of the PFAS settlement cases, those are structured such that everyone's using a digital signature through a software like DocuSign or Adobe eSign. So in those instances, in order to participate, you really have to use that software. And what we've done historically is a specific resolution to authorize Martin to sign that by way of digital signature. And we've been doing that for years, but now we're asking just for a policy to permit that. Contracts will still come to you, they'll still be reviewed by our office, there will still be a resolution, they'll still authorize the signature, so nothing's gonna change in terms of the process though.
Okay, well, I don't have any problem with this.
I don't either.
So we
So
make
the
a motion?
resolution,
I have a resolution adopting electronic signature policy pursuant to chapters 304 and 1306 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Make a motion, we adopt that.
and second, roll call,
Mrs. Jones?
yes.
Mr. Grossman?
Yes.
Great. I saw there were no add-ons, I'm just making sure, since yesterday, there are still no add-ons.
That's correct.
Okay, great. Is there anyone here wishing to, address the board? And I'm looking at you, Brad. Good
Couldn't
morning.
find anything to do this morning, so I just came here to see what you guys do all day.
Yeah. Well, we're good, it's good to see you.
Let me start out by congratulating Commissioner Grossman on his victory last week. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
This is what, your third term or fourth?
This is my fourth and my last.
And your last?
I'm not gonna do this again.
Can I take that to the bank?
I enjoyed doing this, but, there's a season to everything,
Mm-hmm.
and this is my last season.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you so much for
congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
I'm here on behalf of the Warren County Historical Society,
Brad,
specifically.
would you just state your name and address for the
Oh,
record?
that's right, I'm supposed to do that. I'm Brad Knapp, I live at 456 South Broadway, Lebanon, Ohio. I'm here to represent the Warren County Historical Society and our museum, known as the Harmon Museum, named after Mr. Harmon, who left Lebanon years and years ago and went to New York and made a fortune in real estate and came back, and we have our museum and our park named after him. And of course, he's long gone, but his name remains. On Tuesday, the 31st of March, we had a grand opening of what has been now called the finest folk art collection in Ohio. And that's not a quote from Brad Knapp, that's a quote from the governor's wife, Fran. At this event,
Is this Mr. Niehoff's collection?
yes, the Niehoff collection, correct, I was gonna mention that, the Niehoff collection, and he's retired now, but he's still very active. And I think he was president of the Cincinnati Stock Exchange at one time. And they had they did bonding for the county.
That would be
That's
Buck
how you-
Niehoff, Buck Niehoff.
yeah,
is-
Buck
was
is
bond
his
counsel.
brother.
This is his
Okay.
brother.
Yeah, okay,
Uh-huh,
great.
uh-huh.
Well, at this activity was the governor, the governor's wife, former governor's wife, city manager Scott Brunker, and other distinguished, including Nick Niehoff, who I already mentioned is president of the Stock Exchange. I'm here to offer you free passes to this exhibit. And I hope you take advantage of this. It goes on until June the 10th, June 11th, 12th, something like, June 12th, we'll pick a date. On June the 6th, which is a Saturday, we're having a big art exhibit in front of the museum. They're blocking off South Broadway, which would be an opportunity for you guys to not only see our museum, which has various collections that are all relatively new. We have a steamship, we're talking passenger liners from the early 20th to mid 20th century collection that's, I've never seen anything like this, and I'm kind of into this stuff. I mean, probably should be in like Massachusetts or Rhode Island or even Manhattan, but it was donated by a local gentleman and his wife. They were looking for a place to put it, and they chose our museum. We also have a new, what is referred to as the Armstrong Flight exhibit. There's a model of the Hindenburg there, as well as several other models of airplanes and history of aviation as it relates to Ohio and our county. So with that said, I'm a history buff, and I love what you've done out there. That you have a museum of your own.
Our records, they've done a really nice job with that. I agree with you.
And as I told City Council a week or so ago, you're here making history. You made history when you saved the tennis match. They'll be talking about that, I hope 50, 100 years from now. So you're history makers. So go look at our history museum on South Broadway, please. I thank you for your time. I was talking
I would love it if you could leave your information with Crystal, because I've been writing just a little.
It's all in here,
Great.
but I'll leave one for her.
Yeah, well, that's okay, I can give it to her, but I do write a little, kind of monthly or whenever the spirit moves me, piece about stuff that's going on in the county for people who have an interest in my musings, but,
Okay, good.
I would love to be able to write about this because, and I do want to get over to see it, although, thank you for the offer for the free tickets, but I'm gonna decline my free tickets, but I do want to
Although
come.
the envelope has your name on it, I printed it, but you can give these to whoever you want.
Well, my point is I do want to come and see it. I've heard a lot about this collection, and I'm a big, fan of folk art, so I'm really excited to go and see it, as well as, I'm a huge, I love Shaker, furniture and so forth, so I know that there's a lot of that there too, so I
Well,
need.
I'd right down there as soon as this meeting's over.
So,
They're open.
so I do want to do that, and I thank you for bringing it up. I happen to have, it's weird how things are in the atmosphere, but I had lunch yesterday with Buck Niehoff, and so we were talking
Oh,
about
okay.
this.
Well, gee,
And so that's
what
why
a coincidence, yeah.
he knows my love for folk art, so, he told me that his brother had put his collection here, on display, so I definitely want to get out and see it, so thank you.
My timing was perfect.
It was serendipitous.
Serendipitous, I like that word. I learned in some sort of speech class, public speaking class, whatever you do, remember the 3 B's: be bold, be brave, and be brief.
Well, and be Brad.
Emphasis on brief.
4 B's, be Brad.
There you go. Well, I'm gonna hand you these.
Thank you, Brad.
I'm going to trust you to get Mr. Joe, I'll trust this attorney friend of mine.
Let me ask you a question. If the general public comes to this event,
How much
what
is
does
it?
this ticket cost?
$10.
Okay, so it's
That's
within
all
the,
we need to know.
This is not
under
right.
50.
As long as
No, we have to
somebody-
I don't
report
feel
it.
bribed, but,
We have to report it if it's over 50.
Yeah, I knew that.
and I'm happy to pay for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll get
Appreciate
you
it.
one.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, any other business to come before? Good morning.
Thank you. Catherine Bowles, 446 Deerfield Road here in Lebanon. I wanted to, thank you for your time. I wanted to ask about the Township Line Road Bridge number 134-3.76. According to the 2021 annual report, the Warren County Engineers Office identified it as deteriorating and needing replacement with the estimated project cost of $450,000. But by the time the contract was approved in December 2024, the cost had increased. Construction began on June 2025 and was completed September 2025. And less than a year later, there is reports of roadway failures, vehicle damage, and repeated patching. So I wanted to ask, who is financially responsible for the repeated repairs and associated costs? Or is it the taxpayers, the construction, or the bonding company? Do we know what those repairs, who's funding those repairs?
We'd have to discuss this with
Okay.
the engineer's
Okay.
office, so I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, so, some other questions, let me see. We're just wondering why the apparent, just questions for you guys to take to the engineers. Why were the apparent problems not identified during inspections or final acceptance of the project? And can the county engineer's office determine whether the failures were due to design issues, construction materials, drainage problems, or other causes? So just wanting to know those questions, because when taxpayers see a project substantially increase in cost and appear to fail shortly after, it raises concerns about future projects. Are they being properly designed, especially these big projects coming up? Are they being properly designed, inspected, and managed? That concerns also extends to the Renaissance project. I would like to know whether the commissioners have reviewed comparable arena projects before moving forward with the development of that size. Comparing Middletown to entertainment markets in Cincinnati or Toledo are not comparable. They're not realistic. Those cities already attract visitors that have significantly larger because they have significantly larger populations. The established entertainment districts, major venues, tourism infrastructure, and access to international airports that Middletown does not have. From my research, so I'm not a professional researcher in these things, so just in my layman's research, more comparable examples appear to be the Covelli Center in Youngstown, Ohio, the Ford Center in Evansville, Indiana, the Extreme Arena in Coralville, Indiana, and the Cable Dahmer Arena in Independence, Missouri. So reports indicate the Covelli Center is operating at a deficit in 2025. The Ford Center generates revenue but still requires ongoing maintenance funding and struggles to fully cover the construction debt obligations. And the Extreme Arena the Extreme Arena contributed to Coralville's bond rating being downgraded to a B because of the debt burden tied to the project. The Cable Dahmer Arena generates revenue that helps support the bond obligations, but taxpayers are responsible for the maintenance costs of 3.1 million in 2023. So just all to say, once the arena is built, taxpayers remain financially tied to it, whether the project succeeds or not. And residents ultimately become responsible for the long-term maintenance and operational subsidies, renovations, repairs, and future upgrades. Before committing public dollars to a project of this scale, the community deserves transparent financial projections, realistic attendance and revenue expectations, and honest comparisons to similar cities and arenas.
Ms. Bowles,
Yeah,
you're going through so many different things. It
Yeah.
would be helpful maybe that you focus on one thing at a time.
well,
So, for example-
it just gives a whole
No,
example of the whole
hold
picture.
on a second. So, for example, you started off with a different topic than the.
Yeah, the
event
road
center.
project.
Exactly. And I believe that, of course, the engineer handles all of our road projects.
Right.
And determines when we need these projects. They make recommendations to us. Much of that is funded through a gasoline tax, which of course lots of people pay for, as you know. But the engineer is the expert on that, not us. We accept the engineer's.
Right, and I was
advice.
just giving information to ask the engineer.
I get you, and we're gonna ask the questions that you've asked for, but the engineer is our expert on this topic. Now, with regard to the event center, you were here for the 2 meetings,
Mhm.
because you've been attending almost every meeting,
Yep.
not every one of them. So you heard all of your points discussed that you've mentioned today. So you heard thorough investigation and analysis that's been gone into that project, and you heard the testimony on it. And you, in fact, were present. You didn't make any comments about it, but we had some commentary from, for example, from Justin Conger, who was actually Conger Construction was with Turner doing that project originally. And then when they no longer were doing it, he asked questions, somewhat similar to yours. Dave Young asked a lot of questions, somewhat similar to yours. But you understand that we looked at this very issue, and so for example, these are revenue bonds, and they're backed up from the revenue of the center, but we're making a commitment of only $12.5 million on it, and it equates out to about $800,000 a year. So when you raise a question of transparency, we had 2 thorough public meetings on this topic with lots of testimony, and every single issue about this was thoroughly addressed, including the question of what we were doing, which part of because there's 3 different bonds, and what part of it was not transparent.
If the debt bonds aren't paid back,
No, we
who's
covered
paying
that
for it?
topic. So
That
I'm
wasn't
asking
clear.
you, what part of what happened wasn't transparent? Because that was I think that's one of the main issues you got,
So
is whether we were
the
transparent.
comment that I've made about using comparable cities, so they were
We
comparing it to
we had a-
Cincinnati.
Did you read the study about that from the expert?
You didn't provide that,
No, it was public document, it was all provided.
okay.
I'm just asking you the question, I'm not being antagonistic with you, but that was actually dealt with. So there's not a lack of transparency on this. That's all I'm saying,
Okay.
is there's something that the public needs to know, and that you probably know. You know what the major funding for this is? It doesn't come from us. It comes from a bond issuance where US Bank is the trustee on the bonds. You heard that. I asked that question. And unless private investors invest in it to bring up that money, and they're going to, believe me, the private investors are going to look at all the things you're talking about. They're going to look at the metrics of this. They're going to look at whether this is a good opportunity or not. And if they don't fund it, this isn't happening. You understand that? We went through that carefully. So this was all transparent. So, and there was a question of whether, because Commissioner Young brought this up. He said, look, this isn't really a private investor like we had BMOC Capital that was investing heavily in the tennis center. There isn't something like BMOC Capital at the event center. No, there's going to be a bond issuance with a whole lot of private investors determining whether they're investing in these bonds. And if they don't, it doesn't happen. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is all completely transparent, and those people will have all access to the records about the finances of this, just like you were, and just like the public was, and just like we transparently presented. It's all public record. It's not, none of it was not transparent. So, but you go ahead and. Go ahead.
The bridge number, that was, the bridge number is, let me get it. 134-3.76.
And we'll ask about that.
I'm sorry, I just, you read it and I just didn't get it.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, the public, there's many people reporting that their cars have been damaged and it's been patched, and we just wanna know who's
Okay,
paying for that.
I will, once the meeting is done, and I think I need to talk to Bruce about a couple different things, but once that's done, I'll get with the engineer this
Thank you.
morning.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Will that be announced, or, can I contact you, Martin?
Yeah, contact me anytime.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely.
Thank you guys for your talk.
You might
Appreciate that.
interrupt the stream of thought. Did you have anything more that
No.
you wanted to say?
No.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for being here, and if you would like a copy of the pro forma on the Middletown project, you can request one through Crystal, and Crystal can give
Crystal,
you all of
can
that
I get that from you?
documentation.
Okay.
It's the same, the consultants were here
Yeah,
and talked about it, but you can take a look at how they determine the comparables and the marketplace, market penetration, and all those sorts of things. So it's a pretty good read, so if you obviously have an interest.
yeah, I would love to. Thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate
By
that.
the way,
sharing.
Ms. Bowles, my wife told me that she met you the other day on election day, and she
Yeah.
liked you very much.
Yeah, she was sweet.
Yeah, thank you very much.
She's the better half.
Clearly.
She's lovely, she's lovely. Anyone else wish to address the board today? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And yes,
Thank you.
thank you all.